Sitters are here.
I'm ready. I'm ready. Okay, kids, behave.
Man to man.
I got the little guy.
Oh, did you leave cash for the pizza?
I got it.
With more features than ever.
All right, who's hungry?
Mobile banking from Central Bank lets you deposit checks, pay bills,
Okay, you're gonna get a rip screen.
send and receive funds with Pop Money, and more.
Hey.
So you can stay in the game without missing a step. Do more with mobile banking from Central Bank, official bank of UK Athletics.
All S, all P, all O, R, T, S. Pick it up at all sports. Pick it up at all sports.
In Fayette Mall on Facebook and Twitter, locally owned and operated since 1972.
All right, welcome back to the BGO studio right here, live on PrepSpin. It's Talking Sports. William Warfield alongside my tag team partner here on the network, Darren Douglas. And Darren, we talked about the Lexington market, but the Louisville market always is pretty good.
Well, you can probably, in any given sport, in any given year, you can circle around the Lexington and the Louisville markets as far as quality teams. Now, there are certain sports in other areas of the state that stand out with some outstanding teams, but those are the two hotbeds for most sports, not all sports, but most sports. Right.
We got Coach Tammy Hailey going to be joining us here. And, Coach, how are you doing?
Hey, doing great. How are you doing?
I'm doing real good. Good to have you here on the show. I know we've been kind of chatting back and forth through the Twitter Messenger there, but, man, I tell you what, you've got an amazing program there at Assumption. How did it get so good, Coach?
You know, I don't know if I hate to admit it or I'm happy to admit it. I started back here the very first team, 1990. I was on the first team here, and, you know, we've had some quality coaches. We've had Sam Hayward here for about 10 years, did some good things, and then Kenyon Meyer moved on, and I think Kenyon was here about 16 years, and he really built this program up. So we've had a lot of great success, and we want to keep that up over the next couple of years.
How is it, you know, day in and day out, preparing to play a schedule like you put together each year?
You know, it's tough. You got to start off. You got to hit the ground running. Our first week, next week we got South Oldham. You know, we start with Collegiate, then we go South Oldham. The following week we've got Lexington Catholic, West Jessamine.
Yeah.
So there is no leading up to anything. We got to be ready from the very beginning of the season.
Yeah, I'm looking up and down your schedule, and then you got Simon Kenton after that on the 23rd. Just 3 big games right there. I don't know how good Louisville Collegiate is, but you got definitely 3 big games in a row. Then you play Ryle. New Albany, Indiana, are they pretty decent? I'm not familiar with them.
Yeah, don't know a whole lot about them. You know, at this point, we got to go into every game thinking they're out to get us. So,
yeah. West Jessamine also on your schedule. You're going to be coming here to Nicholasville for that, and
right.
Yeah, so that'll be a big game against you and Coach Wright playing in that one. I think we might even try to get that one on the network broadcast, possibly.
Oh, that'd be great. Yeah, I know we played West Jessamine last year and tied them up pretty early on in the season. So
yeah,
we're looking for another good game.
Well, let's talk about last year's season, if you don't care, Coach. I'm looking up and down your schedule here. It looks like you girls made it to the 7th Region Championship game there against Sacred Heart, but overall in the season last year, it looks like you were 13-7 on the season.
Right. They had a good season. You know, we started off pretty strong, and we had a lot of ties out of the gate. We've had West Jessamine, had Lexington Catholic. You know, our region is what gets us every year. We've got Manual and we've got Sacred Heart.
Yeah.
We just got to make it out of the region in order to continue on the state tournament. So it's going to be the same thing this year.
Of course, Male was pretty good last year too. They were 14-6.
Yeah.
They've been coming on real good, you know, here over the past 10 years, it seems like. But everybody, when they think about your region and Region 7 there, it's always either you or Sacred Heart. Who's going to come out of that? And you guys are always the measuring stick.
Yes. You know, but like you said, Male's good. Manual, they always give us a heck of a game. So we can't, you know, bypass them. But it does seem to always come down to us and Sacred Heart. And, you know, that's a big rivalry at any given time, but especially in that regional tournament.
Your scoring last year was pretty spread out. It looks like. I mean, it is really, you know, when you think of a team game, you guys were a complete team. It wasn't just one person, you know, shining through. It was everybody putting in a little effort.
Yeah, and I think it's going to be that way this year. We had a scrimmage at South Oldham last weekend, and it showed that we got a lot of girls that can shoot the ball. I think we had like 26 shots on goal or something, and it came up from everyone. You know, it was no one person. So I think that's going to be pretty much the same. We did, you know, we had an injury at the very beginning of the season. Olivia Marino, who's a senior, she tore her ACL. She was a pretty good. She, you know, scored a lot for us last year, so that's a big loss. But so far, it looks like we've got some others that are going to step into that role. So we're pretty excited.
Who's returning on your team this year that you're really looking? I know you're looking forward to everybody, but who's that one player that you think really has to step up this year?
You know, it is hard to say, but we've got Kennedy Klein. She plays in that center back position, and she's a leader on this team. I think she's been on the varsity team since she was a freshman, and she's, you know, chosen by her teammates as one of the captains, and she's one of those that's kind of a fierce to be reckoned with on the field. And when she's up and she's playing well, the whole team seems to follow. So as long as we can keep her in the game and keep her momentum up, I think we're going to do well.
You play in that Lexington Catholic tournament, and you heard us mention it earlier. One of the best tournaments in the state, in, you know, a lot of people's opinions. People that follow soccer and even people that don't follow soccer know that the Lady Knights Challenge Cup is huge. You guys keep coming in it each and every year. You've had luck in the past with it, and, you know, you won some championships there. But how do you see yourself coming into this year's Lexington Catholic Knights Cup?
You know, I think it's going to – I heard you all talking before. It's almost like there's more teams and more powerful tournament than that state championship, because – some of us, you know, some teams don't make it through the region. So when you get down to it, you know, you've got the top like 8 or 9 teams in the state that are guaranteed to at least start out and play in that tournament. So that's going to be a huge test for us, something we're pretty excited about.
Yeah, when you look up and down the schedule there, they added Simon Kenton last year for the first time, and they ended up winning the whole thing last year. Yeah. Coach Zoller's done a really good job there at Simon Kenton with that group of girls. Absolutely. And I think wasn't he in the past a Louisville guy too? Wasn't he something to do with your?
Yeah, he's Ballard. I think he coached at Ballard for a little bit, and he's kind of been in that soccer scene for a while. So
yeah, we're kind of branching out, you know, not just Fayette County, but we're trying to cover more of the state, Coach. So we might be a little bit behind the times on some of that, but we certainly know that your program and of course Sacred Heart's program, when you talk about girls soccer. And then, like you said, you throw Mel in there, and you know, just a really tough region there that you've got.
Yeah, you got Emmanuel as well. Yeah, I mean
Emmanuel. Yeah.
It's tough, and you know, I appreciate you guys reaching out to us. As much as we can get girls soccer out there and on the map is a good thing. You know, it's come a very long way from when I started out here.
Well, you know, we've broadcast several of your games over the last 4 years. I don't know if you knew that or not, but at that Challenge Cup, we broadcast most of those games all the time. But
yeah,
definitely familiar with your program.
Right. What
do you see the biggest challenge this year?
You know, we've got we're pretty senior heavy. We've got 10 seniors. They've been through 3 coaches. You know, so they coming into the season didn't know what to expect. They got a new, you know, another new coach, and so it's just kind of, I've spent this first part of the season kind of building morale and getting everybody to come together and realizing, hey, you know, we're not just putting in the motions this year. This is your senior year, and you're going to get something out of it. And I'm here to make sure that happens. So luckily, the attitude and the effort has been great. They've all really stepped up to the plate. You know, I just want them to go out strong and have a good taste in their mouth for their experience here, and go out on top if they can.
I know Angela Passelfume's been, you know, she was at Assumption in the past, but now she's back there after serving some time with the KHSA. Not serving time, but you know what I mean.
Maybe that's the way she described it, huh?
I got to clarify. Yeah, she was locked down a little bit there, but she is back with the Lady Rockets. How's it like working with the athletic director as good as she is?
Oh, she's amazing. You know, from the very first minute in the interview process, you know, we kind of hit it off, and she's been awesome. And anything we need, she's been right there to make sure we get it. And the support's amazing. And you know, when you've got an athletic director that supports your team and is there for you, it's all the difference in the world. And I've talked to other coaches here, the volleyball coach, the basketball coach, and they all say the same thing. You know, you got Angela in here. We got a good group of coaches. We got a great athletic director. So you know, we're very lucky in that respect.
When you think of sports overall at Assumption, you know, obviously this show is about your soccer team, but when you think of sports overall at Assumption, volleyball really stands out too. They've always have an amazing volleyball group of girls there that are state champions time to time.
Oh yeah,
what else do you got going on there?
Well, I'm coming in as the rookie in this coaching group over here. You got Ron Cordes of the volleyball team, who's been here 20 plus years and won, you know, I can't tell you how many state championships. And you got Debbie Judd on the field hockey side, same thing.
Field hockey. Yeah.
So I got a lot of stuff to prove over here.
Do you find that challenging going into a program as high as Assumption is with athletics? And is it something
Absolutely.
that, you know, you feel like you got to prove yourself in? I mean, obviously you want to do the best that you can, but is it tough working for a program that's so pristine like that?
Yeah. You know, I'd be lying to say it wasn't a little bit intimidating, but these coaches are very supportive. Ron Cordes and I go way back, and his daughter and I are really good friends. So luckily, I've got that as more of a mentor type father relationship. And you know, Coach Judd was here when I was here. Back in the day when soccer was a spring sport, I actually played for her in field hockey. You know, for a year before they switched that over. So luckily, I've already had friendships with them in the past, and they've already kind of taken me under their wing and made it a little less intimidating. But yeah, I'd be lying to say that I'm not expected to win.
I'm gonna let Darren ask you a couple questions here. He wants to talk.
Well, there's been one that's kind of, you know, you go back to your alma mater, and we look at the prime example in this area here was Joker Phillips coming back to UK to try to coach football. How much pressure have you put on yourself coming back to your alma mater to coach the girls' soccer program? Because a lot of coaches say, it's not a big deal, but deep down inside, it's got to be as a competitor.
Oh, it's a really big deal. You know, when I first thought about taking this position, it's one of those almost dream jobs to come back to the place where, I was on the very first team here, kind of helped start this program. And so I absolutely put a lot of pressure on myself, but I also have a major love for the school. And I think that helps with the girls to come in and show them, you know, how much I care about them, how much I care about this program. It's really nice to be able to tell those girls, I've literally been exactly where you are right now. You know, I've been a senior at Assumption. I've been, you know, walked those halls. I know the pressures that are on you. So hopefully, you know, because we can relate on the same, and because I do have that love and passion for Assumption overall, hopefully that will help make this a successful pairing.
Everybody, you know, has fallen in love with the U.S. national team. Everybody knows the success that women's team has had. All the success they've had, and now the fact that you got some college programs at U of L and Kentucky that have both gotten into the national scene and made some noise in the NCAA tournament. And now you've got some smaller schools at the NCAA Division II and Division III, and of course the NAIA level that are making noise in the national tournaments of the respective divisions. How important is that for girls soccer in the state of Kentucky?
It's amazing. It really is. If you know, and I know soccer has kind of just kind of came along, and like I said, it started in at least in the Catholic school program here back in 1990. First big thing that started getting girls involved was you know, the Brandy Chastain 1994 World Cup, and it kind of, you know, at that point here in Louisville there was one club team, which was Bon Air. There was one club team in Oldham County, and now you look at all the success that the women's program has and all the club teams that have built up because of that, and It's just kind of a trickle down effect, which is amazing. They've done wonderful things for the sport. They've been great spokeswomen, and really having a lot of success. So it's definitely changed the sport immensely.
I think the overall, here in the state of Kentucky, that soccer is probably the fastest growing sport in all of Kentucky, in my opinion. If you think back to when,
right,
we first started out, covering soccer to where it is now, with just amazing schools, that are playing the sport. I mean, it has grown tenfold from 10 years ago when we started.
Well, I know from my point of view, I played on the very first soccer team at Woodford County.
Yeah,
I was a young freshman. Cool. I was about 120 pounds soaking wet.
He ain't that no more.
Not that anymore, you're right. But I also got to see some great soccer that was played in the spring as well, back in those days.
Yep.
I'm not going to date myself. I'm a little bit older than you, though, Coach. But from that point in time, I mean, we played all the Lexington schools. We played, and then we went down to Louisville and played. And I remember my first ever match that I got to play, actually, because I missed the first couple of matches because I got hit in the eye with a foot, and it had scratched my cornea, so I had to sit out for the first couple of matches. But was down at Louisville Ballard. That was my very first game that I got in. Now, I've lost 6 hours of my life at Louisville Westport in a game because of a concussion. So I have some good memories and I have some bad memories of going down in Louisville. But I can agree with Coach. Just because our men's and women's national teams have been so successful on the international level, and it's filtered down to the college programs, not only here in the United States, but here locally in the state of Kentucky, it's been great for the high schools. And we've been fortunate to see a lot of high school kids go on and play at different college programs, not necessarily in the state, but other places in the country that have been bred right here in the state of Kentucky. And the girls, especially in the Louisville area, have really had a lot of kids go out and do well for themselves.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Coach, what do you see the biggest positive so far in the preseason with your team?
So far, it's been their attitude and their effort. They came out here, like I said, I didn't really know what to expect with the girls, but they started off. We did a little work in spring of last year, and they came out, and everyone 30, 40 deep came out and ready to go. And then we moved into. They did some summer conditioning on their own, which was good to see. And then in this preseason, we've had everything from 2-a-days to total conditioning workouts, and they're on top of it. They're not complaining. Work. They want to put the effort in. They want to win. So I've just got to give them the best that I can give them to make sure that they're prepared. But I see good things. I see really good things. We just got to learn to work together as a team. We're pretty defensive strong. We got 4 seniors on back at defense. 3 of those are captains, if that tells you anything. So got a lot of leadership building from the back, which is really good, I think. So, I've seen really good things. Amazingly, the effort and the attitude have been spot on. So I'm excited.
That's the thing, too, Coach. In any sport, when they have so many coaching turnovers, it's consistency that the kids lack as far as coaching when you change coaches that many times. But also attitude in any sport. I mean, if you believe you can do good, you will. But how hard is that if you get a young lady who comes in a little bit doubting her own ability? I mean, as a former player, it's got to be tough on you to not sympathize so much, but you got to push her, but you got to also sympathize a little bit, put your arm around her and say, hey, it's okay.
Oh, yeah. There's a lot of, psychology that goes into to coaching as well, I'm sure, as you all know. And then when you're coaching teenage girls, a little bit of that as well, maybe even more. I've used the phrase, it's starting to be one of my catchphrases, is get out of your own head. Like, girls, you guys you're in your own head, you're talking yourselves down. I'm not over there yelling at you. I'm not the reason your head's down. So unless I tell you to correct it, keep doing what you're doing. You all are all smart players. You're good players. That's why you're on this team. So, I've had to say that several times. Girls, get out of your own head. Let me coach you and stop worrying about it. Stop trying to coach yourself. Stop getting your head down. But, you were dealing with 15, 16, 17-year-old girls that it's real easy for them to get down on themselves. So what I have to do is to be that person that steps up and lifts the morale. And you know, I like doing that. That's kind of my favorite part of it. So.
You ought to copyright that saying too. That's a pretty good one. Get out of your own head.
I think she might have been talking to you too, Dan.
Well, I was the world's worst. When I was a player or an athlete coming through in the various sports I played, I was my own worst enemy. I'd get in my own, I'd chew myself out in my head, and it was done. And I'm sure you've seen that
too. Well, then your game's over, right?
Huh?
So then your game's over, right?
Oh.
You know, you get your head down and you're done.
Yeah, I mean, you talk yourself out of many good plays that you could possibly make, you
Absolutely.
know, because you're in your own head and you're thinking, I'm not good enough to do that. I can't, you know.
Right.
And it's awful to watch because as a broadcaster, I've seen it before. And I pointed out in a game that we did one time a few years ago. I think it might have been a Woodford County Henry Clay girls soccer game, and both teams were actually playing really well, but you could tell one player on each team was really beating themselves up over a play that they actually collided, and neither one made the play themselves, and they were beating themselves up the rest of the match, and it was awful to watch.
You can see it. You can see the demeanor change in the body. You can see the head go down. You know, and I've told them already, you know, if I see that, I'm going to have to pull you out because we've lost you. You know, you got to be able to get past it, or you're going to have to come out. Like, there's only two options, because, you know, if once you get down on yourself, then we've lost you. We got to get somebody in there. We got to get somebody else in there.
There's a hot topic that's going around right now, Coach. I'm going to ask you before I know you got to get out of here, but multi-sport athletes, what's your thoughts on that? How do you feel about it?
All for it. I'm a 100% advocate. You know, I know that there comes a time and place when you've got to start narrowing it down, but this 6, 7, 8-year-old that's picking the travel baseball team for the full year and giving up everything else, I don't believe in it. I think that you learn a lot from playing different sports. You learn about, you know, how to be a good teammate. You learn different skills that you're going to use later on in life. I just think that you get burnt out way too early when you commit to a team year-round or one sport year-round. You know, I've got 3 kids, and that's been a question we already have with, you know, my 9-year-old son. You know, people want him playing one sport year-round, and that's not going to happen. I'm just not for it. I think once you get up to a certain level, yes, you know, when you start getting towards high school and things, but I was a 3-sport athlete in high school, and don't think it hurt my game at all.
Awesome. Coach, is there anything that we haven't asked you that maybe you want to throw out there?
No, I think you guys have covered it all. I just appreciate you giving me this opportunity and for covering the girls soccer.
Yeah, we love to have you on again. Maybe we can get you on before that Knights Challenge Cup, which is coming up pretty fast.
Yeah, that'd be great.
About a week and a half,
It
I think,
is.
from now.
Yeah, it's on September 11th, it looks like. It's
Yeah,
coming right
we
up.
got a lot of good games, yeah.
Awesome. Well, Coach, we appreciate your time.
All right, well, thank you so much, Darren and William. I appreciate it.
Good luck this season.
Thank you.
It's Coach Tammy Hailey of Assumption, Darren, and just she's going to be doing big things, and she did really good her first season last year.
Well, I liked what she said there at the end of that. You know, that one hot topic. You and I've talked about this before when we've traveled some places doing games. You know, people wonder what do you do when you go to a away game that's 2 or 3 or 10 hours away, like we went one time. We talk about everything. We talk about everything, any kind of topic we come up with, and that is a big issue when it comes to young players.
Right.
Singling out to one sport when you're 8, 9 years old or whatever. Now, she said she was a 3-sport star in high school up until her senior year. I mean, 3 sports now. The head boys basketball coach of Franklin County, Tony Wise, he played golf, tennis, ran track, football, basketball, and baseball. All 4 years of high school.
That's
and he's successful at all of them. And I know he listens to our program a little bit, so Tony, if you got my number still, don't text me and get the big head with me, because I like Coach Wise, but he did it and did it through high school. Coach Hailey did it through high school with 3 different sports. It can be done. I agree with the summer ball thing. I mean, I'm all for summer ball and playing and stuff like that. I understand all that. The problem I have is the fact that you play too many games during the summer. You know what I'm saying? You go from a high school game or a high school season where you play, depending on how deep you go in the tournament, anywhere between 30 and 40 games. And then you go into summer ball where you can play anywhere between 65 and 90 games over the summer. I mean, that is a lot of baseball. It's a lot of stress on people, or kids, especially pitchers. Yeah. There's a lot of stress on their arms and things like that. So, you know, I'm all about watching kids develop and get into the different sports. And I agree with Coach Hailey. The more sports, the better. You can learn different lessons through different sports. And you also use different muscles for different sports in different ways, which can keep you from getting some injuries and keeps you pretty much in shape and stuff like that. And I know you played baseball. Was there anything else you played as a kid growing up? I know you focused on baseball when you got to high school, right?
Yeah, baseball was my biggest thing. You know, I thought about giving football a go, but you know, I was just one of those guys that just like playing baseball. And then, you know, outside of high school, you know, I would pick up basketball and things like that. But
well, I mean, I played football, I played soccer, and I played basketball, and I played baseball forever. And you know, I wouldn't change any of my experiences in any of those sports I had. I got to meet a lot of different kinds of people in different environments and things like that, and it was fun. And that's why I enjoy doing what I do now with the broadcasting end of it, William, because we meet so many different coaches, parents, players, athletic directors, principals, and we meet them in a various different sports. Yeah, you know, and that's fun for me. But you know, if I was fortunate enough to have children, I would make sure that they took in as many sports, if they wanted to play sports, as many sports as they could as a youngster, and then, you know, start guiding them towards one that may be excelling more at than others, and go from there. But I mean, growing up in the household I had, I had a softball coach, I had a baseball coach, and a basketball coach, a volleyball coach. You know, my mom coached softball and volleyball. My dad coached baseball and basketball. Coached a little bit of football for a couple of years. My brothers were both wrestlers in high school. One played soccer, one played football and baseball. So we were a very eclectic family as far as that. And I would encourage young parents out there, if you got young kids that are getting into the athletic side of things, to do as many different things they can. You know, I think it increases not only their health, it keeps their health going for them in a good manner, but it also does so much for them as a person. You know, emotionally, it kind of molds them into whatever they become as an adult, emotionally and trying to think, and mentally. You know what I mean?
Sure.
It's hard to talk about. It's a tough topic to talk about because you got the people who are on the side of playing multiple sports as you're going through, very vehement and very loud, and one's on the other side of that's too much for young people to do. They need to do this and stuff. I guess what Coach Hailey and I are trying to say basically is get off the couch, get out of the computer chair, go do something, whether it run, play tennis.
You know, I heard that earlier
whatever.
today. Somebody said that earlier today.
Right.
I was talking to.
Get off the couch.
Yeah, they were talking about, you know, get up out of the computer chair. And, matter of fact, I did a show earlier today. I was a guest on a show, and one of the guys on the forum was talking about, you know, you just got to get out and live life a little bit.
Yeah,
know?
I mean, when I was coming through, when I got into to the conditioning side of sports, get myself back and getting myself in as maximum shape I could to play all the sports I was playing at the time, I would get up at 5 o'clock in the morning and run. And I was gone. I'd put the headsets on and just run. Well, my mother got worried about me one night. I was gone, or one morning, I was gone for 4 hours. And she was wondering where in the world I was. I was out. I just started running, and I wound up running like 9 miles that day, and just because I was enjoying myself and things like that. But you know, the later I've gotten in life, or the older I've gotten in life, I should say, and the fact that I've had some health issues in the last few years, I wished I could go back and do some of those things that I got away from.
Yeah.
And I'm not talking about sports. I'm just talking about going out walking and running. I'm getting back more to walking now, but if I could get out and run a little bit, I think I'd feel a lot better with my health issues.
Yeah. Well, speaking of, while we're on the health topic, do got a new partner here on PrepSpin. Want to thank those fine folks, and that's
good lead-in. They know I didn't know I had it. Huh?
Yeah. Lexington Diagnostic Center. I tell you what, man, they can save you money. They will save you money on your MRIs. Don't you got an option. Just put it like that. If you got to have an MRI, you don't have to go spend thousands of dollars at the hospital. You've got an option. Go to Lexington Diagnostic Center. They're independent. They can do it a lot cheaper.
Well, and that helps too. And with all the sports going on that we have, it's good to have an independent place to go to.
We're going to step out, Darren. We'll come back and we'll talk a little bit of high school football. What do you think?
Hey, I'm ready for it. I mean, like I said, I'm just now starting to get geared up, and I'm trying to do like 7 different games in the next 3 weeks, and that's between my high school games and my college game that I'm getting ready to do here in about a month. So I'm trying to get all this research done early, so I don't have to do it last minute, or at least for those first 3 weeks anyway. And I'm ready for it. Let's get it done. Let's kick her off.
All right, folks, we're going to step out. We'll be back here in just moments. You're watching Talking Sports live here on PrepSpin, and we're streaming to Facebook Live tonight and on the YouTube app.
At Lexington Diagnostic Center,